Jesus Christ. Guys, look, we're here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the 900 as well. We're on that road, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate the love. You know what I mean? It's definitely felt. But today's episode, it's a great one, and it's sponsored by the good people at Pirate Studios, guys. Anywhere in your creative journey, either you be a DJ, in a band, singer, rapper, whatever, it's where you need to be. You know what I mean? At any level, mid, tier, middle, whatever the case, needs to be here. Also, subscribe, get into their podcast. I will be there doing the same thing I'm doing here, which is talking to great people, uncovering, and just trying to push the culture. So go ahead in the description. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe with them. Stay with us. Because we're going to get into somebody that we definitely should have had on the show years ago. Guys, this is somebody that I think is one of the, I want to choose my words wisely, but one of the better up and coming artists that I like, at least, you know what I mean? And I think someone that's definitely on the way to trend setting and becoming a staple that everybody's going to know, you know what I mean? And he's already working with a lot of the great people that, we're all becoming fond of anyway, you know what I mean? So it's just right that he's going to take his part in history, guys, you know what I mean? And look, it's my fault for this not happening sooner. So, but
Good,
guys,
bro.
look, man, who are we here with?
Miles Bryant.
Guys, my guy. Even though we have to redo this whole thing,
No,
but
you good.
look, man, I'm overly joyed that we can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, bro.
But let's get into it.
Hell yeah.
Let's the ball rolling. You know what I mean? Where are you from? What's the background like? You know what I mean? Give it to me.
From
Pause.
Damn. I'm from San Diego, California. I was born in Encinitas in North County, little like a surf town, but right by the beach. Grew up with my mom and my sister, and my dad. My dad, like I said earlier, my dad moved away when I was like 15. Love that dude, but um, honestly, my dad is part of the reason that I maybe am talented in music because he's a really good singer.
Really?
Yeah, and then on the other side, my mom is like very creative. Um,
It kind of sounds like this was destined to happen for real.
yeah, I mean, my dad used to say like, or basically, here I'll give you a story. One time I was in the car and my dad like, I grew up listening to Ice Cube and plethora of different artists, but like John Mayer, Dave Matthews Band, like I said, Ice Cube. America's Most Wanted was the first like piece of music I ever listened
Wow.
to all the way through.
It's a great,
Yeah,
great
just
album.
like classic shit. But the story I was gonna say is I was in the car with my dad and this John Mayer song was playing and I didn't realize it turned off because he was singing and I literally thought it was John Mayer. So my dad has like a very, very good voice, but was always a little scared. I think back in the day, obviously, because it's harder to get in a studio, do all that shit. Um, so now that I'm making shit, he's always like, "You're doing the shit that I wish I did," which feels good. So
It's in a push in the right direction,
yeah,
for sure.
but that's my background
Yeah,
per se.
yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, is that near the border?
Yeah, I mean, like, probably like 45, 30 minutes. I think San Diego has the best Mexican food in the entire world, and I've been all over
Yeah.
Mexico. I've, been a lot of places.
Better than Mexico?
I think so. Obviously,
Kill
I'm
him in the
probably gonna,
comments,
yeah,
guys. Kill him.
obviously,
Kill him.
obviously, mad folks are gonna come at me for that. I think
Yeah.
LA has good Mexican food too, but
I feel like
at least in the U.S., San Diego has the best Mexican food, in my opinion.
I feel like I don't know. I haven't been to San Diego as an adult, so I
Mhm.
feel like I have to try it.
Mhm.
But I feel like this side of the earth in this region
Usually better, right?
usually gonna be better
Yeah.
because it's like
Yeah.
unless they migrated, I
Mhm.
mean 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be us.
Yeah.
But I digress. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, yeah, I was wondering because I was like, damn, like a certain time at the end, I said that's probably why it sounds Spanish. So I was like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
might be over there. But no, I mean, like I said, I think it's interesting that you're even coming out of San Diego because there's not a
Mhm.
real prominent music scene out there.
Mhm.
At least for the for the rapping or type of things that you do,
Mhm.
there's really not. So what was it tough? Kind of like working on trying to do something that was outside the box
Mm.
that or when you were doing it like back then or
Yeah.
what was it like?
I mean, the music in San Diego is like there's no one really in the same lane as me. And everyone that is maybe in the same lane, I kind of know who.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few artists that I really know of that kind of like. I'm sure there's more, but I'm pretty sure Rob Stone is from San Diego.
Is he?
Yeah, just random people like that that I
That's the,
find out
that's the
that are.
dude that had the
Uh,
Kill Bill song,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Rob
Okay.
Stone, two damn phones. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out Rob Song.
Yeah, for real. But all the like other music is like indie singer-songwriter, surf rock shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of bands in San Diego. I know there's a few that are like actually pretty big now. I'm
Right.
not really in that scene, so I couldn't tell you the names, but shout out to those dudes.
Those guys.
Um, but yeah, I think like music is just not like a normal thing in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's mostly like skate, surf culture, a lot of like health lifestyle shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see this the skating and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
which I mean usually goes hand in hand with the bands
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, you're kind of going against the grain here. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
At what in that like at what point? Because I mean, I remember you telling me about the mic situation
Mhm.
and doing that, and because I'll let you explain it, but I'm like, we
Mhm.
were talking about how like now it's so everything is so readily available for
Mhm.
people to be able to just to start.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
those
sure.
first 2 years are usually very pivotal in like music creation. But
Mhm.
what was yours like?
Yeah. I um sitting in bed one night and basically it started with like me smoking weed with all the homies in the car,
Mhm.
freestyling over Shook One's instrumental, fucking just
Best
classic. Yeah,
instrumental
it's
ever.
so good,
Yeah,
still to this day.
come on.
Um, just like classic story of kind of how like a rapper or artist starts. Um, and then eventually, like I just like remember sitting in bed and like thinking to myself, like, oh, I want to do this, and I know I can do this. I don't know what brought me to that, but I guess I was like one of the better freestylers in the squad. So that's kind of probably what inspired it. But the first mic I got was with my friend Drew Morgan.
Not the
Actually,
other Drew.
let me say this though, cause congrats to that fool. Just graduated law school. I know that's kind of
Wow.
funny, but like pretty
Shit.
sick, honestly. But he was the reason that I got my first mic because when you're a young ass kid,
Yeah.
you ain't got money.
You got
So
money.
we both split. It was like $50 each. Bought $100 little USB mic, which I still use to this day, but not to record, just to play the game.
Yeah, I feel you.
So it's still in my room. I still have it. It's almost like I'll probably never get rid of that thing, just because it's like this is where I
Cinema
start.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a start.
yeah. But then I was just like kind of fucking around in GarageBand. I lived in my mom had like transformed the garage into like my room
Oh wow.
because we lived in a really like small house.
Hmm.
So when I turned like 16, we made that room into mine, or the garage into my room. All the homies would come over, and we would just like fuck around on GarageBand and just make funny shit. Um, but during that time, I was like, in high school, and there was this kid, Lucid, who I love to death, and he still makes super good music, and like, SoundCloud's really hard to get plays on now, and he
Is
just,
it
I think it is, and it's just, I don't think it's dead. I think SoundCloud still has like, a lot,
a pulse?
yeah, for sure. But he keeps continuously dropping shit on SoundCloud, and it's doing like amazing. But he is like one of the first producers I ever like really locked in with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
In San Diego.
in San Diego, yeah, in Carlsbad or San Marcos is where he lived.
The
But
Gap
yeah,
is in Carlsbad.
yeah, Carlsbad Gap.
Yeah, the
Yeah, well,
Carlsbad
it's
Gap.
gone now, because they tore it down. Probably I don't even know
They
2010 maybe.
tore it down.
But yeah, because they remodeled the school. And then before they remodeled it, they had this big like competition. Bunch of like pros came out and skated the gap.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
so sad. Damn.
yeah. There's a lot of like skate history in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big skate capital. But yeah, me and Anthony, or Lucid is
Mhm.
what I call him. We just like locked in. He was like the first dude I ever really locked in with, and kind of like began to go away from rapping as much and like singing more and like
Mhm.
finding melodies and stuff like that. So he plays a big part in my start for sure.
Shaping. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's fine. Especially getting a producer that's gonna help you develop. Especially if
Mhm.
he's already a little bit farther down the lane. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
always feel that producers are a lot more mature in the head when it comes to music, even at a younger time.
Yeah,
You
I
know
mean,
what I mean?
yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, at that time though, like we were both just like fucking making whatever,
Yeah.
you know, like I was like, let's make a dance track, let's make like some weird dark like
Yeah.
fucking rap shit, you know. So it was like really definitely beneficial for learning things, you know.
I mean, but I feel like you should definitely experiment, especially again, like
Oh
I
yeah.
said, those 2 3 years are just so pivotal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I feel like that's where you kind of tie down, like where you might want to go or
Mhm.
what's not gonna work, or what is gonna work. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Just it's just the demo period, like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because it's like the minute you get new equipment, usually the sound's gonna change anyway. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And especially like you're getting older, your voice is changing and all types of
Yep.
shit. So it's like nothing of that time ever stays, but at
Yeah.
least you got the drive to do it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then so you get out of high school and then you said you went to college, right?
Yeah, so I went to an art school called Columbia College, Chicago, not the Ivy League.
What the fuck? Like,
I'm not that smart. At least not with fucking book smarts. But
don't gotta have no friends. You know what I mean?
yeah, so I went there in Chicago. I spent like 5.5 years there probably. I love that city to death. That city like made me who I am for sure. I think college does that most of the time to people.
I
Or
mean,
just that move, you know, like after high school.
I always had a not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I had a guest on here before. Shout out, good job, Nat.
Mhm.
She had made it a point talking about like if you stay at home and stuff like that, like it almost turns you into a child. So like
Yeah.
when you leave home and you're on your own, like that's gonna be the person you're gonna be. So it's like
Yeah.
so yeah, it usually does have a funny way of like
Mhm.
you really discover yourself like that. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
But anyway, just very interesting that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Because if it weren't for Chicago, I think like I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm blessed to have gone to Chicago and shit. But
Shout out to Chicago.
yeah, for real, so much good music there and like
Yeah, literally.
instrumental cool shit and or not instrumental, experimental cool shit.
Instrumental.
Um, I mean, fucking Laura Less. I'm pretty sure she's
Yeah.
from Chicago. She's like, you know,
Yeah.
crazy hyperpop, 100 gex, all that shit. She actually worked at this coffee shop that was down the street from my apartment, and this was like she was making God, she was making like she was like speeding. I can't think of the name of the genre, but she was like speeding up songs and posting them on SoundCloud and like
Mm-hmm.
putting drums and stuff over them. And me and my friend Evan like were obsessed. And then like we loved her, and then we found out that she worked at this coffee shop, and we were like anxious to go in
Y'all
and
going
shit.
down there? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
cause like we loved her music. But yeah, Chicago has like a bunch of really cool artists like that.
No,
But
for real.
but yeah, then from Chicago I moved to Los Angeles with Bree Miller. Shout out,
Free.
love you.
True.
Yeah, shout out Bree, Drew, Key, all the Dead Boys, love all you.
Facts.
But yeah, me, Bree, and a bunch of other homies caravanned together. Took like 3 days. And we moved into this little spot in Culver City. Then from there, just kind of like none of us really worked. We were just like partying, skating, just fucking around. I was making a bunch of music.
Mm.
Um, and then moved to San Diego for 6 months. Came back to LA. Some shit happened. Now I'm in Orange County.
You know, county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, life happens, but I'm grateful for where I am right now. So,
No, I mean, like I said, I think life has a funny way of making sure things are gonna work out.
yeah, I think so.
No matter what it has to put you through to get there,
Mm,
you know what I mean. It's kind of like one of those it's kind of like a blind fury situation.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? But I think overall it might have been the best situation. You know
For
what I mean?
sure. Yeah. For what happened,
Exactly.
I'm endlessly grateful and blessed. So.
Exactly. So pause. I'm gonna make sure this is still recording. You're not gonna do it to me again this fucking far into it. Yeah, alright. Great.
He said, "Yeah, I."
Alright. Bitch, you heard me this time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, so at what point okay, because I want to talk about, these projects.
Mm.
This is why I didn't get to talk about before.
Yeah, yeah.
But and I'll get it out now. So I know you're working on one now,
Mhm.
and that's you said it was COVERGIRL.
COVERGIRL, yeah.
Explain kind of like that because I know you're saying like you lock in with one producer.
Mhm.
So is this kind of the same?
This is absolutely the same. Shout out fucking Julian. There's gonna be a lot of shout outs because I couldn't do what I do without the people surrounding me.
Hey,
You know how it
I'm with
is.
that. I'm
Yeah.
with that.
So Julian, he's probably probably the best producer I've ever worked with. I've worked with amazing producers. One of them being my homie Land Party,
Mm,
who is in Chicago, and him and my friend Brennan. They're a lot of the reason that I've been able to make better and better music as I've gotten older. But Julian is the first producer that I've worked with that makes beats that are perfectly for me.
mm,
Um, and it's not like a weird thing that's just in my head. It's like people, other producers and other artists and even friends are like, who's making these beats because they're perfect for your voice and what you do.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, this I met him. I haven't met him actually.
Mm,
He lives on the other side of the country.
love that.
He's uh, a youngin'. He's like 21 years old. I mean, I'm young too.
Yeah, but
But he um, goes to school for music
mm,
and computer engineering, so he's just always
on a
yeah,
computer.
on the computer
Yeah.
and doing shit. And we met, I think, in December of 2024, so like pretty recently.
Yeah.
Just my one homie Maki like DM'd me, and he was like, "You have to link, or you got to work with my friend Julian."
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've just been like super locked in. Um, but yeah, so this project really came quickly. I'm kind of blown away at some of the music because it's like probably the best music I've ever made. And I still can't believe I made it. It's like that
Mm,
type of feeling. When I listen to it, I'm like, I can't believe this is me.
yeah.
So that feels really good. But yeah,
It's an amazing feeling.
yeah. So the cover girl is me and Julian basically,
Mm.
um, and that's it. Just us two. Just working over the internet basically on Discord. So
Nowadays, that's kind of where it's going.
yeah,
You
no, I
know
mean
what
you
I
got to
mean?
do what you got to do. Like if he was in Orange County or in Los Angeles, it'd be a different
Yeah.
story. But I think it's actually works good for us because we both have talked about this. Like he works really well, kind of like by himself, isolated,
Yeah.
just headphones on the computer, and I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I work way better when someone can like send me a beat and I can do it in the
The way you
comfort
want
of
to.
my
Yeah.
own space.
Yeah.
And he's the same way. So I think it's just like almost perfect timing,
Match
kind
made
of
in heaven
like
type deal.
yeah, literally, because you'll see. Like I think a lot of people will understand like after they've heard my most two recent singles and then this one that's coming out in June. Um, they'll start to
New
understand.
single.
Yeah, new single. I can't give a date yet because I don't want to. But
At least he's honest, y'all.
yeah, I mean, I would love to have a date. We just have some shit to figure out right now. But yeah, I think when people hear this run of music, they'll
Mm-hmm.
start to understand where my sound is going and where it will probably stay.
All right.
Um, so
You were saying this is the one that you felt like you found your sound, like
the
this
yeah.
concrete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's funny because like when I was working, like I mentioned, my homie Anthony Lucid, like when I was working with him, it was a lot of like me singing and doing a lot of shit, and like then I kind of gravitated towards more rapping, and then I was doing like hyper pop shit, um, and like then I did like a very poppy album, and
Mm-hmm.
then last year I put out like a uh, ambient drill like kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
sound
Exactly.
album. You know what I mean? So I've kind of been all over the place, but this I think it's because of where I am in my life.
Yeah.
This music is like I'm singing completely and like have
Mm.
crazy melodies and I'm layering everything, which is like
Mm.
kind of new for me.
Yeah.
Which is
Especially for that
so
type
dumb.
of music too, man.
Yeah, but it's so dumb though. Like I should have been layering the whole time, but
I mean, it's 50-50,
yeah,
man.
I think
You
it
know,
depends on what you're doing.
and the mixing.
Yeah.
Cause some people can layer and it just phases out because
Mhm.
they didn't do anything different or
Mhm.
whatever the case is. So I mean, I feel you, but like
Mhm.
it's stepping stones. You kind of have to get there and get used to doing it. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So just it's like a new door for real. You know what I
Yeah, it
mean?
is. Yeah.
What you were saying, my bad.
No, just the I don't know. This album feels really special. I think I don't want to say anything, but I think that this people will see.
Yeah, hey,
Um,
look, man, I'm excited. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I'm about to let me hear it.
Yeah, no, I'll send you.
You know
I'll
what I
send you
mean?
that shit.
You know what I mean? But no, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I definitely like the direction that it's been going.
Mm.
Like I said, I like the experimental stuff. The Blue Skies ones is one of my perfect like
Skies are blue.
yeah,
Yeah,
Skies
yeah.
Blue is one of my favorite tapes
Thank
from
you,
you. You
bro.
know what I mean? After getting to listen to everything and stuff
Mm.
like that, I think it's one of those things where it's like why not just do it all?
Yeah.
I mean, especially it's coming out good. It's not sounding forced. It sounds sincere, and I
Mm.
think that's what I think you've always had going for you. That
Mm.
it's coming from the heart. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But I will say, like I was saying before, those visuals, dog. Them visuals is like I told you, I can't put a hand on it, but it's like
Mm.
Cloverfield with females, bro. And like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, how are you going about those like the visuals? Like, how much are you, I guess, painting the stories behind it, or going after what you want?
I think for a long time, like finding ideas or like treatments for visuals was kind of hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like really good at making the music, and then the moment I need to like figure out the visuals, it's kind of hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but something about the music that I'm making with CoverGirl, it's been like clicking. Um, and I always want the visuals to be like different, but not so different that it's hard to watch, obviously. But I just want it to like stand out and be. A lot of my music is very emotional and like very I don't maybe not dark, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm extremely honest in my music.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the videos to be fairly honest as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think keeping them artful and like interesting is cool too. I don't know, the visuals kind of just happen for themselves. It's not like something I really think about too much.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, shout out Stevie Shot It.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Stevie.
that boy. If
That
it weren't for
guy.
Stevie, I don't think like a lot of my like best videos would be what they are. So I'm blessed to know that dude, and you know,
Steve is a workhorse for sure.
yeah, he is. No, I respect. He came out here just wanting to make music videos, and
Yeah, literally.
now he's doing it for real. So, um, but yeah, me and Steve have been super locked in, trying to do a bunch of shit for this project, and yeah, I don't know. The visuals I love. I think every good song that you think could be really good deserves a visual.
Thanks.
Um, but also, visuals can be expensive, so you gotta kind of pick and choose which ones. But um, yeah, that's all I really gotta say about that, I suppose.
Yeah, you're good. So,
Yeah.
no, I mean, like I said, that's great. But I do want to get into one more situation
Mhm.
before we get out of here. Like I
Mhm.
said, and because I can't, like I said, I can't say the name of the tape. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm just. What is that? What was the thought process behind that project?
Yeah. So
That's the most recent one,
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Atelier is that like is workshop in French, or repair shop. Basically, the idea of the album was to showcase how I was like working on myself, and like bettering myself and talking about past bad habits and new things that I'm dealing with. And that album was the first time in the past 2 years where I was able to have, how do I say it? Basically make music in a way that like I didn't care how that album did. I didn't give a fuck if people liked it. I just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make a body of work that felt real to me and felt honest. And I think if you go and listen to it and listen to what I'm saying, you'll understand. But um, me and my friend, 13, his name's Max, or Maxie now. He changed his name. But that's the boy. Like me and him, we were living together for like 3 or 4 months, and we made that whole project. Um, we were going through similar shit at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked, and it was like a beautiful thing. And the whole time I was just like, and that's how I'm treating CoverGirl too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously with this music, I think with CoverGirl there's more of an expectation maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have no expectations, and I'm like I found the love for making music again because why I started like that album Atelier was that like I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit, I'm having fun doing this again. Um, so I think with Skies Are Blue, that project I felt like I needed this to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
I had features from my friend Sophie, who's signed, and my friend John McClain, who I love both of those people, but I wanted the project to do. I think my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Is that
Yeah,
the right
I
term?
think
Yeah. And I
pull
had
up all
like,
you could chew.
yeah, exactly. And I had like John Greenham. He's like this Grammy-winning like mastering engineer. He mastered the project. He invited me over to his house, and I saw his Grammys with Billie Eilish and fucking and Beck, and it was an amazing experience, and I love that project. But Atelier was a very pivotal moment in
Yeah.
my career and my life. And I could talk about that project for hours just because of how much it means to me.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, I think that project was a big, big change for um, my music and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything that came with that project and was around during that
mhm.
project was such a major change in my life. So,
I had a feeling. That's why I was like, I definitely wanted to talk about it. And I mean,
hmm
it had such a, like, I don't know, like the direction, like it's kind of like the scene from like Pirates of the Caribbean where he takes the compass out and it just spins. It's
exactly.
just like
Dude, that's crazy, actually.
you know what I mean? Like it's one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like that's I'm like, oh, this is a very volatile might be a crazy word, but a volatile feeling. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's very much like righting the wrongs or just writing kind of what it is. Like you know what I mean?
hmm
And that's why I was like, it's raw emotion. That's why I was like,
hmm
it kind of makes sense too because it's like the indie side of you that you did like with with Kishore and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that. You know what I mean? And congratulations on 100K.
Thank
You
you,
know what I
bro.
mean?
Thank you.
But the idea is like that song is so honest as well,
hmm
and like to do the indie stuff, you have to kind of have that part of your body or part of your soul that's
hmm
willing to be honest.
Yeah.
And I feel like, your writing and how you go about your music has that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
that's
think it.
something like it's different.
Yeah.
As I said, the approach of it is might be something that people are familiar with, but it's not really the same after you get into it. You know what I
hmm
mean? So I mean, just applaud. You know what I mean? It's an amazing album. You know
Thank
what
you.
I mean?
Thank you. Thank you.
But we're getting to the end of this, unfortunately, guys. You know what I mean? But any last words before we get out of here?
Um, check out CoverGirl when it comes out. It'll be coming out this year. Check out the new singles, Body and I Get It Now. New single coming in June. All produced by Julian.
You can't say the name of
Yeah.
it.
Well, I can't. It's called Plastic.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Plastic on an album called CoverGirl.
Yes, sir.
Also, and not to cut you off, the singles that came out.
hmm
So the last one that just came out is a part of that album.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. So Body and I Get It Now,
Yeah.
and then one more, and then the album. But
How long
yeah.
is it? How long is that one? Sorry.
The album's like 10 songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was a
Um,
good little taste then.
yeah, it'll be a good little project. But yeah, keep your eye out for that. Thank you for having me. Um, don't trip about how long it took. I really don't give a fuck, honestly. I think it's better now that it happened today rather
Yeah.
than in the past, honestly. Um, but yeah, I'm just fucking I keep doing what I'm doing, and I appreciate you, dog.
I mean, hey man, look, I'm happy you came on. Like I said, I'm always gonna be a fan with you. You know what I mean? I'm
Thank you,
definitely
brother.
like what's going on, and especially with because all of our friends are the same people, so
hmm
it's a very bright future for everybody.
Yes, sir.
But I'm definitely excited to see how you go about it, and I'm here for the ride. You know what I
hmm
mean? But guys, this has been Life and Times. Remember, shout out to Pirate. Everything in the description. All of his links, music, Instagram, all that stuff in the description. Pirate Studios podcast in the description. Pirate Studios website, all that. Book you a session, book you a DJ, all that type of stuff in the description. Life and Times.
Miles
Myles
Bryant.
Bryant. Bow.
Oh yeah.